It is a land enchanted by timeless myth, an ancient paradise given birth by Earth's fire. Living in the spirit of the people who discovered this magical oasis, no other place on Earth can share its place in our soul like Hawaii. Come with us as we discover the islands of Maui, Lanai, and Molokai. See these islands like never before and discover the hidden places. Learn about the rich history and culture of the Hawaiian Islands. Explore the islands with the people who make it so amazing. Find out why these islands have a magical effect on people as we take a video postcard tour of Maui, Lanai, and Molokai. Aloha! Welcome to the Hawaiian Islands. Famed as a unique, exotic beauty that nature has set apart from all others. In fact, no other location is more isolated from any other landmass on our planet. Indeed, Hawaii stands apart from all other destinations. Aloha, I'm Maria Quaban. Join us as we bring you a window into the people, culture, history, and lifestyle of Maui, Lanai, and Molokai. I was raised in the Hawaiian Islands. I was fortunate to have the islands as my childhood home. My family, my friends, my people, and the culture are very dear to me, and I'm excited to share it with you. I invite you to take this journey with me as we explore these amazing islands, and then come and experience what we believe is the closest place to heaven on earth. Mahalo. The Hawaiian Islands are actually the tops of a massive oceanic mountain range that rises from the ocean floor. Mauna Kea on the Big Island, measured from its base, is actually taller than Mount Everest and is often capped with snow. As the mountains catch the clouds, they draw rain, making these islands a lush oasis, adorned with spectacular waterfalls. Today we see the results of nature's evolution, a lush, inviting, tropical paradise that deeply touches all who visit here. The Hawaiian people are rich in culture and history. Before we embark on our journey through Maui, Lanai, and Molokai, shall we take a few steps back in time and learn more? Come with me to a place where it all began. The history of Hawaii is full of epic voyages of discovery and idyllic isolation. Kings and queens, heroes and villains, the rise and fall of kingdoms, treachery, greed, revolutions, and even war. And the history still lives in a powerful remembrance of past events and traditions that have helped form the people we are today. And when it comes to our people, nothing better defines us than the language that seeded our culture.
Hawaiian people did not use writing, and so unlike us today, they were not able to write down their own history, to remember important people, important events, important stories. Therefore, all of their records were kept by memory.
Everything that we knew from the beginning of our history was committed to memory and recited and chanted, sung. If you were a hula dancer or if you were a chanter, you were held in very high esteem because basically you would be the textbooks. You would be the libraries of ancient Hawaii.
The men were the original performers. And for many, many years and centuries, hula was tradition.
The Polynesians were tremendous ocean voyagers, and they explored the entire Pacific. They navigated in large double-hulled ocean-going canoes. They made use of the stars, the moon, the wind currents, the ocean currents, looking at the swells of the ocean. Well established that they were probably here somewhere between AD 200 and 500 in terms of colonizing.
Life was simple on the island paradise, secluded out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Family relationships were very strong, and the people lived very well off the abundance the land could provide them. However, the Hawaiian people had no idea how their lives were about to change forever. Early Hawaiians lived in a paradise untouched by the outside world until January 20th, 1778, when Captain James Cook and his expedition made its first European contact with the Hawaiian people on the islands of Kauai and Niihau. On that day, Hawaii's long isolation from the world came to an end. This was the beginning of new and sometimes tragic chapters in Hawaiian history. A large crowd of people, led by their chiefs, had gathered along the shore to see Captain James Cook en route from the South Pacific. He had stumbled upon the Hawaiian Islands, breaking centuries of isolation for the Hawaiian people. Captain Cook was thought to have been mistaken as a returned god.
Captain Cook is very important, more almost as a symbol than necessarily him as an individual, because Captain Cook was the first outsider, the first Westerner to visit Hawaii, and the first one to really bring significant changes.
As the two cultures mixed over time, Cook's men and other sailors, with their constant demands for food and women, began to try the patience of the hospitable Hawaiians. Many disagreements arose. The Hawaiians also began to wonder if Captain Cook really was a god. An item was stolen from one of the ships on the night of February 13th, 1779. Cook and his men assumed the Hawaiians stole it. Cook's men fired upon a canoe attempting to leave the harbor. The outraged Hawaiians counterattacked, killing 4 Marines and Cook himself. Both sides deeply regretted their actions when things subsided.
After Cook's visit and after his death here, and after the publicizing of that death back home in England and throughout Europe, more and more people knew about Hawaii.
From the time of the first contact in 1799, more than 40 more ships arrived bringing hard liquor, tobacco, materials, weapons of war, more animals, and devastating diseases. In less than 100 years, 90% of the native Hawaiians are thought to have died. Among the most devastating diseases to hit the Hawaiians was the scourge of leprosy. Father Damien dedicated his life to helping the lepers who had been sent to the island of Molokai to prevent the spread of leprosy. He too died of leprosy in 1889.
The man that we know today as Kamehameha the Great occupies a very significant role in Hawaiian history. He is the first ruler, the first monarch to rule over all of the Hawaiian Islands as a group. Kamehameha, through warfare and through diplomacy and negotiation, managed to unite all of the Hawaiian Islands into one political entity.
When Westerners arrived, hula was Hawaii's living theater. It was also a form of religious rite to honor the gods and the chiefs. The sacred hula was delicate, artistic, and a subtle form of expression mastered only after long years of apprenticeship under a master teacher. Early missionaries did not like the hula. The sensual movements set to hypnotic island rhythms made the hula offensive to their narrow and often ignorant worldview. Hawaiians were already demoralized by the destructive Western ways and saw that the missionaries were moving to abolish the hula.
There was a time here in Hawaii when we were forbidden by law. The hula and chanting was banned. And to be caught dancing in public, you would be arrested and fined $500 minimum. And if a native Hawaiian didn't have $500 in the 1850s, and you'd be put into prison. And in 1874, our last king of Hawaii, King Kalakaua, he not only lifted the ban on hula, but he encouraged the masters who were still living to teach, to train.
In 1887, a group of businessmen who had grown prosperous on sugarcane led an armed revolt to restrict the king's powers. During this power struggle, King Kalakaua died, and his sister, Princess Liliuokalani, succeeded him. A very strong and brilliant woman, and the last Hawaiian monarch, Queen Liliuokalani, would valiantly fight for the rights of her people. When the Queen attempted to bring forth a new constitution that would place the voting power back in the hands of the citizens, a group of anti-royalists launched a revolt. She was imprisoned in the Iolani Palace for 8 months, and when released, continued to work to ensure justice for her people until her death in 1917. A provisional government was imposed. They went on to set up the Republic of Hawaii and continued the injustices. William McKinley signed papers annexing Hawaii as a U.S. territory in 1898. James Dole arrived that same year and later sowed 12 acres with 75,000 pineapples on Oahu. By 1900, sugar became the primary industry of the Hawaiian Islands. Inter-island air flights began and tourism took off, with luxury liners arriving, and the expansion of plantations kept the economic depression of the 30s from having a serious impact on Hawaii.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The event that forever etched Hawaii as part of common historical knowledge happened on Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese Imperial Navy. In less than 2 hours, Japan managed to destroy virtually the entire American Pacific Fleet based at Oahu. After World War II, air travel became more commonplace. By the 1950s, jet travel was introduced and put the Hawaiian Islands less than 5 hours away from the West Coast. On August 21, 1959, President Dwight Eisenhower added another star to the American flag, announcing statehood for Hawaii. This launched a building boom, and people began to flock to the Hawaiian Islands. Welcome to the island of Maui. Maui is known as the Magic Isle, and what magic it is! Maui seems to have an effect on people unlike any other place on Earth. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Maui is relatively young. 1 million years old, Haleakala, the world's tallest dormant volcano, dominates the island. Its older sister, Mauna Kahalavai, is about 2 million years old. The lava flows from these massive volcanoes were so profuse that they connected with other submarine volcanoes that later became the separate islands of Molokai, Lanai, and Kaho'olawe.
When you think of Maui, you really think about diversity. There is so much to do on this island. I mean, you can be at the atop Haleakala at 3 o'clock in the morning, almost freezing to death. It gets quite cold up there, and view a glorious sunrise. And 3 hours later, you're down at the beach, perhaps in Kihei, frolicking in the surf and sand.
Here we are on top of the world's largest dormant volcano, Haleakala. It's quite chilly up here, and you'd have to get up pretty early to witness the sunrise. But the view is definitely worth it. This This is quite a sight to see, and words just cannot describe the view. Haleakala means House of the Sun. The crater dimensions are 21 miles in circumference and 3,000 feet deep. It stands 10,023 feet above sea level. Okay, so once you've seen Haleakala, now what? Well, our host Catherine Crevier found getting back down to the glorious beaches below can be even more fun.
We just experienced an incredible sunrise over Haleakala Crater. Now we're going to bike down with Tim from the Haleakala Bike Company. Tim, tell us a little bit about what you do here.
Well, Catherine, what we do is we put visitors on bicycles and they're able to coast 38 miles from the top of Haleakala down to sea level. It is a dream come true. It's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. You get to feel the island in the open air. I recommend it to everybody.
Well, let's get our gear on and check it out.
Let's do it.
Now, if you enjoy taking a drive along the coast, then the road to Hana is for you. The Hana Highway is 52 miles and winds around 600 curves and over 52 one-lane bridges with scenery that will take your breath away.
Hana is really a special place. I mean, it's a town that time almost forgot. And what really makes Hana special are the people. And they're very genuine, very down to earth.
Further down the road from the town of Hana is Kipahulu, home to the famous 7 pools of Ohio, where waterfalls spill into tiered pools leading to the sea. Okay, if you've had enough of driving and want to see even more of this island paradise, Catherine Crevier has just the ticket for you.
Is amazing, but nothing beats a bird's eye view than from a helicopter. We're here at Blue Hawaiian Helicopters. Come with us as we take an amazing helicopter tour.
It'd be a shame if you came all the way to Hawaii and you missed taking a helicopter tour, because it's the only way you're going to see the most spectacular scenery that Hawaii has to offer. The valleys, the waterfalls, things you just are never going to see from the ground. You'll see tremendous valleys that meander to the heart of the mountain over in the West Maui Mountains. Waterfalls that come right out of the wall of the valley. Over on the Hana coast, a beautiful rainforest with thousands of waterfalls. People are almost invariably just thrilled. Say it's the highlight of their trip. They had no idea that kind of scenery was here.
Maui is full of adventure and scenic beauty by day, but if it's the nightlife you're looking for, Lahaina has it. For great bars, restaurants, shopping, and art galleries, this is the place to be.
Lahaina is definitely a great place to hang out, but Lahaina also has quite a history. It has a resemblance of a New England town and comes with stories of great kings, queens, princesses, Bible-thumping missionaries, scoundrels, and sailors.
The town of Lahaina is really Maui's historic town, if you will. The ali'i, or the royalty, once made their home there, and even today you can see remnants of this time gone past.
Lahaina during the 1825 to 1860s period was the booming years for whaling because of the need for supplies for all the whale ships.
As many as 400 to 500 whaling ships at a time berthed in the harbor with up to 1,500 sailors ashore. You can learn more about Lahaina's whaling period at the Whalers Village Museum and the Whalers Village Shopping Center located in Ka'anapali.
And it's pretty special that they were saved and displayed here in one place for all the tourists and visitors to see.
What makes Lahaina special today is its cultural value. There's a lot to share, a lot to shop. I mean, if you enjoy shopping, there are tons of fantastic art museums with some of the finest artists in the world are represented in Lahaina town.
No visit to Maui would be complete without an authentic Hawaiian luau. Just down the street is the old Lahaina luau. Let's find out what makes it so special.
Aloha and welcome to the Old Lahaina Luau.
The Old Lahaina Luau has been in operation for 18 years and it is a magical place. We have lush tropical surroundings and it takes you away. You feel like you're in a little Hawaiian village. We are a traditional Hawaiian luau that takes you to the history of Hawaii. We really believe in service and the aloha spirit and hospitality, which is ho'okipa. You get a mai tai, a fresh flower lei, and a host personally takes you to a tour of where everything is on the grounds and shows you your seat. And then it's kind of like cocktail hour. You mingle, you see the crafters, then you enjoy our imu celebration where we take the pig out of the underground oven. And then you have dinner, which is a bountiful feast, and then our traditional Hawaiian hula show. Our goal is to touch our guests, the feeling that they were touched with genuine warmth and hospitality and with the aloha spirit. We're glad they came to visit us and they take that home with them as a special memory that they'll never forget.
Aloha! Thank you for coming!
One stop you definitely want to make is the beautiful Iao Valley. In ancient times, the Hawaiians buried the royalty who died here. The Iao Needle rises 1,200 feet above the stream and served as a natural altar. Maui really is a beautiful island, and there's so much to see. But there's a whole other world below the surface. Here at the Maui Ocean Center, your visit will be a journey through the extraordinary underwater world of the Hawaiian waters.
The Maui Ocean Center is really special because it highlights a lot of the uniqueness of what's found in Hawaiian waters. A lot of the fish here are endemic to Hawaii or only found here, and we are able to display them in a way where you might not be able to see them otherwise. Maui Ocean Center is laid out sort of as you would go on a dive. You start out in the Living Reef building, which highlights reef animals and corals and has beautiful displays of living coral. And then as you move throughout the building, you see deeper reef, and then you move into the open ocean building where you see predators like sharks and jacks. So you get a whole variety, the whole gamut of what's found in the ocean.
Among the most famous guests that come to Maui each year are the humpback whales. They typically start arriving in November and stay until around April. They come for similar reasons we do: rest, recreation, and romance. Whale watching tours are popular during the season and are indeed quite a sight to see. As you can see, Maui is filled with unlimited things to do. But if it's just lounging around on the beaches or at your hotel you're looking for, Maui has no shortage of glorious places to visit. Let's start with one of the most famous beachfronts on Maui. Welcome to Ka'anapali.
Probably the best word to describe Ka'anapali would also be variety. It's really a place where people can go to relax.
Another popular beachfront town is Wailea, home to some magnificent hotels.
The Wailea area is very hip and trendy. It's kind of our Southern California, if you will, of Maui.
If you love golf, there are a number of world-class golf courses on Maui to choose from. The picture-perfect settings will spoil every golfer. If you're looking for ocean adventures, then Trilogy Excursions has just what you're looking for. If if you're lucky, you may end up on a beach that's having a surf or a windsurfing contest. Maui is known for world-class windsurfing, and it's quite a sight to see. The Maui coastline is just filled with unlimited secluded beaches to enjoy while on your visit to this tropical wonderland. Maui is a fantastic place to do all these things, or perhaps do nothing at all but just connect with your family and loved ones for priceless memories. Lanai, just off of Maui's coast, formerly known as the Pineapple Island, is now called Hawaii's most enticing island. Lanai is charming and the perfect place to unwind. Come with us as we take a closer look at this exclusive island. There are a few ways of getting to Lanai, like taking the expedition's Lanai ferry from Lahaina. Leaving several times a day from Lahaina Harbor to Manele Harbor on Lanai, this 45 to 60-minute ferry ride gives you a great opportunity to visit Lanai for a few hours or for the day. Even better, stay for a few days because Lanai is a special place.
It's away from away, you know, a place where you can actually hear the sound of silence, serenity, whatever you may dream of, you dream it right here in Lanai.
Mike was kind enough to tour us around this quaint little island. Let's leave the beach for a while and see some of the sights.
Up at Avehi Trail. And that trail is very beautiful, especially in the morning. And on a clear day, you'll see 4 islands. You'll see rock signs that says Garden of the Gods, but the correct pronunciation would be Kiahi Kavelo. And it's a place, it looks desolated, but very unusual rock formations. And Shipwreck Beach, you'll see the ships. There's a few ships left, and there's one that's right there that's visible that's been beached in 1953.
Lanai is really one small town, you know, Lanai City they call it. You know, it's just a small square with some beautiful trees, you know, grassy area, and basically all the happenings go on around the square, from the restaurants to the real estate office to a couple of stores to the grocer to, you know, it's really small town charm. I think what makes Lanai special is the fantastic resorts they have there. I mean, talk about luxury and pampering. When it comes to the lodge at Ko'ele and the Manele Bay Hotel, they really know how to do it, and they do it right. You truly feel like royalty on that island.
Like the other Hawaiian islands, Lanai has stories of kings and queens, heroes and villains, epic battles, and of course, legends. There's an interesting love story dating back to the late 1600s that involves a warrior, a beautiful Hawaiian bride, jealousy, passion, and the rock.
The back of me, you see a grave. It's about 2 lovers, and this rock is called Sweetheart Rock, and also known as Pu'upe'e. This guy, Makakehau, was one of the chief's son, was a very jealous guy.
Makehau had won this young Hawaiian beauty named Pu'upehi as a prize of war and love. It was said they were deeply in love. Because she was so beautiful, Makehau feared she would be coveted by the chiefs of the land.
So he'd hide her in the cave while he'd go up and gather food. And well, there's a storm hit, and she got caught up in a tide, got killed, drowned. And then they were going to do a burial funeral for her, but he asked the chiefs and everybody in the village that he'd like to spend another night with her alone. And at that time, he took her and scaled her right up alongside the rocks there and buried her up there. And then he scaled his life over the side of the cliff. Legend goes that there were angels come down and helped him bring him up there. It's just a mystery.
But in Hawaii, it is no mystery how a place so beautiful can have an effect on people the way Lanai can. May the love stories live on in and beyond Sweetheart Rock. Molokai, also just off of Maui's coast, is known as the Friendly Isle. And unlike anywhere on the planet, people of Molokai will make you feel as if you have lived there your entire life. Come with us as we take a closer look at this amazing island.
Total small town charm, wonderful, wonderful, friendly people, and it's the only island where native Hawaiians make up the majority of the population. When you go over there and you step onto the island, you feel it immediately and you're just thrown back in time.
Kim Tempo, our friendly tour guide from Molokai, gave us a glimpse of what Molokai has to offer visitors. Come with us as Kim shares her friendly isle.
People here are warm and friendly. Whether they know you or not, you'll get a wave from one car to the next car. They will go out of their way to care for you. One of the most significant sites on Molokai is the sea cliffs. They're the world's tallest sea cliffs, approximately 3,500 feet. You can only see them by plane or by boat. There's no road that goes back to the sea cliffs. We're located in Halawa Valley on the east end of Molokai. This valley is where they believe some of the first Polynesians first landed here in Hawaii, and from that time till today people have occupied Halawa Valley. It hasn't changed in over 1,000 years.
The town of Kalaupapa is below, and from this lookout, the view is spectacular. You can't drive to Kalaupapa because there are no roads to lead you down. However, guests can take a mule train ride to Kalaupapa. On the Molokai uplands, you will find Molokai mule rides. You'll be riding down 1,700 feet to the town below. Then, a tour around the formerly forbidden town of Kalaupapa, where a man known as Father Damien started his calling to help survivors of leprosy, today known as Hansen's disease.
Father Damien de Vooster came from Belgium in 1873 and passed away here on Molokai in 1889 in Kalaupapa. And on a visit here to Molokai, he learned about the perils and the story about the lepers and went down to visit them. And he just could not see how people could live down there like that. When you were sent to Kalaupapa, you were sent to die, not to live. So they had no running water, no electricity. They had no shelter, and Father Damien built their homes and their shelter, built them a church, tended to their wounds, gave them their last rites, and was their counselor, their doctor, everything that they needed. He brought them back a touch of humanity, brought them back a taste of what it is to be human again and to be treated as humans. He did contract the disease when he was probably about 5 years into his work. The people of Molokai are very proud of Father Damien and his accomplishments here on Molokai. They view him as probably the biggest celebrity here of Molokai.
Mahalo for letting me share these islands with you. Now you can see why this land is enchanted by the spirit of the people who make it so amazing. I invite you to share the aloha spirit with the ones you care about most in your life and come visit us. Experience firsthand the true magic of Maui, Lanai, and Molokai. For the video postcard, I'm Maria Quaban. Aloha.